Hey, welcome back to the channel, and this is my review of England versus Argentina. Both sides can be pretty satisfied, I think, with the way they started the match. England run it up hard a couple of times, and Argentina get the ball in hand and put the through the phases. And both teams are looking pretty good, and looks to be a good match. Unfortunately for England, play gets called back, and from a contestable kick. There was a head clash. Tom Curry hit, and like there was blood everywhere, and hit another guy in the face. It was completely accidental, but again, he's going very upright into the tackle. It's given a yellow under review, and eventually ends up being a red. I can't see how he can really argue with it. I do feel a little bit disappointed for him because he's not a dirty player at all. But yeah, there we go. That's a game as it is at this point in time. There's another incident pretty shortly after, and it's one of those things that Argentina really have to work on, I think. And similar to the Grant Williams incident against South Africa, where he was taken out, or ostensibly on the charge down, and their technique is really awful. I hope they're not doing it intentionally. I wouldn't put that on them, but yeah, it's another one of those. And on a charge down, the guy turns his shoulder and takes out the kicker. He's lucky he didn't make contact with the head, because if he had have done, I think it would have been a red card. Yeah, so just a yellow. But both teams are down to 14 men. So it's a bit scrappy after that. Both teams trying to get their footing in the game, and Carrera, the outside half, who got sent off for the yellow card, he comes back on, and you're just wondering now, like, it's 15 versus 14. Can Argentina make it count? So Argentina attack, and it looks like they're gonna power it over the line. But fair play to England, great defense, very resolute, and ends up with Argentina knocking her on, and England are able to clear their lines. So it's back and forth, and England are getting a fair bit of ball, but it's all slow ball. And Argentina, fair play to them, are doing their best to slow it down, which is part of the game. But then maybe the game-breaking moment of the match, Ford just drops into the pocket and pings over a drop kick. And you haven't seen many drop kicks scored in international rugby for a long time. And yeah, it puts England in the lead, 6-3. So yeah, kind of a surprise tactic, but one that was necessary, I think, given the circumstances. That was just what England needed. They needed a bit of momentum, and definitely the game shifted after that. And 5 minutes later, he does it again. Drops into the pocket. I think he's found his spot now, his kind of speciality, and he busts out another one, and it's over again. And England increased their lead to 9-3. And you're getting like flashbacks of that famous South African win, where the player kicked a bunch of drop goals. I think it was the quarterfinal of the World Cup, semi-final maybe, quarterfinal I think. But all that comes flooding back, and you're thinking, oh, England actually is switched on for this game. Argentina do look a bit shaken after those couple of scores. Something they weren't expecting, which makes it great from an England standpoint. Through the forwards, they power down the field, but England get back territory, and as soon as they do, Ford does it again. And he puts over another drop kick, and it's 12-3 to England. And yeah, I mean, that's how it remains until halftime. So England have done very well to go into halftime 12-3 up, and they can to keep the scoreboard ticking over like that was a major result for them. So from the halftime whistle, Argentina come out all guns blazing. They've obviously had a bit of a pep talk during halftime, and they come out absolutely firing and fired up. One thing I would say though is both teams need to stop telegraphing the contestable kicks. I mean, I know it's a strategy. I'm not particularly fond of it, but it's obvious when you do the caterpillar that it's going to be one of those kicks and players can get set to receive it. It would be much more effective if they didn't set it up so clearly, and didn't give the defense enough time to actually set the positions for it. So from both teams, I think that was a bit of an error. And Argentina cough up a penalty, and the story of the second half, really, the discipline of the Argentinians wasn't great, and they conceded a lot of penalties. And England and Ford in particular took advantage, and slots one over, and it's 15-3 now. So Argentina are going to have to pull their finger out to get back into this match. England start to rumble a little bit up front and put some good phases together, looking good in the scrum too, which I think Argentina were looking to dominate a little bit more than they did. Big hits in defense, and they're rushing up really like fast line speed from them, and Argentina cough up another penalty, and they're just giving points away at this point, and it's 18-3 to England. So a long way back now for the Argentinians. So England are doing well, but you just feel like they're a little bit missing a trick. The Marchant, who I like very much in the midfield, he's had hardly any ball, and Ford is kicking really well, but Argentina really cut in their own throat by giving away so many penalties, and they give away another one, and Ford slots it over, and now it's 21-3. So it's looking like curtains now for the Argentinians. More penalties for England, and they increase their lead. And a nice thing for the English fans was that the crowd was packed with English supporters, and they put their voices to good use, and they're singing Swing Low. And I was pretty pleased to see that. It's nice to see the English public get behind the team, because it's been a bit of a rough time for them, and with a big lead against Argentina, basically their main rivals in the group. It was nice to see that, actually. And in France particularly, you had the English voices singing out. It was a nice moment. So, kudos to those guys. Argentina tried their best to mount a bit of pressure, but a lot of mistakes, a lot of handling errors, and more penalties, more infringements. And it just gives the impetus to England, and they go 27-3 in front. And all of those points have been scored by George Ford, which is kind of amazing, really. What an amazing performance by him. Coming into the last 10 minutes or so of the match is England's defense is ferocious, and they put in some big hits. Again, the line speed doesn't let up, and with Argentina scrambling to get something out of the match, they just cough up more penalties, and England increase their lead. Argentina do kind of get a consolation try, but England finished strong as well, even with Argentina desperately attacking their lines. So in summary, I think a very important win for England. They really needed this, and not a perfect performance by any means. I think there are questions to ask, no tries scored by them. But if they can win with that kind of margin, it's a case of who cares, really, So congratulations to England. I think their young boys, or their new caps, Chesham, the Mitchell, the scrum half, and Earls, they did very well, and they looked like they were on their 50th cap rather than their 5th or their 6th cap. So England can be very, very satisfied with their performance, I think. Some of the old boys come through in the scrum. So Argentina will have to go back to the drawing board. I think they will be extremely disappointed. No doubt they would have targeted this game as one they could and possibly should win. England, after those drop goals, that was a turning point in the match. And I think great heads up rugby from Ford there to give just tip the game in England's balance. Good match. Congratulations to England. But if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, particularly, and I will see you for the next review very soon. Bye bye.